Hello everybody, I'm Alyssa from Meditative Astrology, and today I'm here to talk with you of the astrology of August 24th through 30th. We have a lot of things going on for Venus as she moves into the sign of Leo, a couple other things that we're going to talk about this week. So before we get into all of that, I just want to give you a quick invitation to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram. That's where you can find the weekly intention that comes out on Friday. The weekly videos are released here on YouTube. And then we have a live astrological meditation every Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That is streamed right here to YouTube. So it's a nice little way to get ready to lean into the energies for the week that we have coming up. I like the process that we have set up here. First, we have the intention that's released, that's astrologically guided. Then we have the weekly video, breaks down everything. And then we meet Sunday nights, and then we meditate on it. We contemplate the energies, and we lean into the ways that they could be working in our lives. So yeah, like, follow, subscribe, all the things. And I will see you Sunday night live meditation, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, YouTube and Facebook. So let's go ahead and get right into what we have going on this week here. If we start out on Sunday, August 24th, moon's in the sign of Virgo, and we have the square perfecting between Sun and Uranus. Now, last week's video, we talked about this too when we talked about the new moon that's coming through Saturday, August 23rd. So feel free to look back to that video, but this is where that square perfects and completes. So really you could feel this coming through over the whole weekend. So like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe even into Monday, but that's where it starts to kind of fade away a little bit. So the sun representing that eternal light within our lives, right? Power, purpose, energetic connections to that eternal energy that is around us. We have a lot of our purpose, we have a lot of our power, a lot of what fills us up within the sun, that which is illuminated, and that is feeling the pressure of Uranus, because Uranus is in the superior position for this. Uranus brings innovation, it brings experimentation, liberation, rebellion, so just something different, brings change. Sometimes quick, sometimes sudden, sometimes unexpected. Uranus can be a little bit erratic, so you can feel some things shifting here through the weekend. Maybe shifts of purpose, shifts of drives, maybe shifts of what motivated us, what's illuminated within our lives. You know, there could be a push and pull with this. Uranus can be a little bit erratic. You know, the sun has just entered the sign of Virgo, right? The new moon was at 0 degrees. This square here is at 1 degree. So the sun is in a new environment. It's newly within the Virgo axis and the Virgo house within our chart. So new environment, connecting with new environment for the sun, for that solar light within our lives. And within that new environment can bring new motivations and new experiences, right? So the focus was in the Leo house of our chart. Now the focus could be within the Virgo house of our chart. So within this new environment where things are changing, things are shifting, now we have that little push from Uranus to think differently and maybe express it a little bit differently too. I say think differently because Uranus is in the sign of Gemini. The opportunities that we could have here could be to find some sort of innovative energy, innovative ideas, ability to break through limitations, freedom, enlightenment, the ability to just go about things a little bit differently. Virgo's very process-oriented. Gemini is thought-inducing and likes to bring in lots of different ideas. So we could have many different things coming to us and then maybe trying to find a way to integrate those. It's a square, so maybe there could be a little bit of difficulty, but I'm curious about what new things are coming up for us over this weekend here. And then obstacles that could come along with this. There's always positive and negatives with all aspects, right? So obstacles could be something like unstable energy levels. So think about Uranus being erratic, changing things. The sun representing vitality, power, energy. It's the light source that all light illuminates from, right? Like even the moon is a reflective light from the sun. So I'm wondering about, you know, for some people, energy fluctuations going from like feeling energetic to feeling fatigued, feeling like we are bored to feeling like we have, you know, lots of ideas and lots of new things that are kind of spurring, kind of like that. feeling trapped, feeling unable to express ourselves, that's the square aspect there. So Uranus, pushing that pressure on us to want to do something different, putting pressure on our sun, on our soul, of our soul's evolution in some ways. So there could be a little general stability versus instability there. And I could see that too with the planets that we have. So like the sun is stable, Uranus is unstable. Think about the signs that they are in. You know, the sun is in Virgo, it's in an earth sign, so that's a very stable sign, even it's a stable element. It's very grounding. We have earth on the bottom, right, of the elements. And Gemini is an air sign. It's much more fluid, it's much more movable. It's also a mutable sign, so maybe there's a little bit of instability there. Instability isn't always bad, it just means things are shifting and changing. Maybe it's gonna give us a little, pushes us to do things a little bit differently. So the square can create tension. So for some people, this may not feel like the best thing there is at first. You might feel a little bit held down. But where are the motivations shifting? Where is the movement coming? Where has the ground been shaking, and where can we see that illuminated with the aspect to the sun here? So interesting coming through here on Saturday. You know, the ability to think outside of the box, fresh, exciting change. More obstacles could be acting without thinking things through, you know, spontaneous action that leads to consequences without really thinking about it. Feeling limited or pinned down, like I already mentioned, feeling repressed. A little bit of boredom could be coming through here with the square, just because it's not the easiest aspect. But squares challenge us. They make us just uncomfortable enough to make us feel like we want to move. So that's what we have Saturday. If we move forward into Monday here, Monday, August 25th, we have the moon starting out in Virgo before it moves into the sign of Libra, and Venus moves into the sign of Leo this day. So we have Venus in a new place, as well as the sun moving into a new place. So Venus is now in the place of the sun, the one illuminating light, just like we mentioned before. The sun is the place of the sun. Leo can be very generous, giving, authentic. Venus represents love, harmony, desires, relationships of all kind, that which we enjoy, those pleasurable things within our lives here. So in this space, Venus is looking to be lifted up, as well as lifting up others. So it's really can be a nice place, as well as noting that Venus is moving into that house that Leo occupies within your own birth chart. You know, Venus is interacting with the outer planets at this outset, so we're going to talk about all of that. But it's kind of a loud entrance into Leo, and Leo is a loud sign anyways. It's co-present with Mercury, so I'm wondering about the ability to speak what we are thinking, but maybe say it out loud in a presentable way. Venus can add some finesse, where Leo and the sun maybe can just be loud and a little bit extra bright here. When I think about Venus and Leo, I think about unapologetically enjoying, or just unapologetically being authentic, being ourself. Authenticity is a big part of the sign of Leo. So opportunities, connecting to the heart space, finding joy and appreciation in life, finding our own authentic self, being true to who we really are. Obstacles here with, you know, that light and that lifting up, that can kind of blind what's not right in our immediate view, right? Like when the sun is out and really bright, you can see what's right around you, but it can be hard to kind of see far away sometimes. So obsessions, infatuation, just really being obsessed or really all in something where it's almost a little bit too much. We're going to talk about the opposition to Pluto that's coming through here, so there could be some deep intensity there, self-centeredness, maybe some toxic positivity of some kind, overly assertive in the sign of Leo can be a good thing, but it can also be too much at sometimes as well. And Venus comes through to those aspects with the outer planets here. So the first one she's going to make the aspect to is Saturn. Saturn is spending its last days within the sign of Aries before it retrogrades back into Pisces. We'll talk about that next week. But these planets within the trine are working together. Maturity, growing strength, ability to find a container for that Leo light that we're trying to find. They're both, it's a fire trine, so there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of creativity. Some of the opportunities could be bringing form to what we've been trying to create, whatever's been brewing, the workings of Leo as well as the workings of Aries within our own chart. So some of the obstacles here could be being a little too like black and white, maybe being a little too firm. I mentioned Aries being a little over assertive. Aries can be very direct and very straightforward. All the fire signs really can. If you think about Aries, you think about Leo, think about Sagittarius, and you think about just how honest they could be. Sometimes that can be a good thing, but sometimes that can be a little bit of a difficult thing too. So that's what we have for Monday. We're gonna go ahead and move forward into Tuesday here, August 26th, and then Venus continues her aspects with those outer planets here. I'm gonna go ahead and bring the chart up here so that way you can see it, and then I'm gonna go ahead and roll that forward here. So we're just going to come forward into, what did I say, Tuesday the 26th here. Yeah, so you'll see Venus in the sign of Leo in this chart in the 9th house. And she's sitting at 1 degree. So you can see where she's interacting with Uranus at 1 degree of Gemini. And then if you move down to Aries in the 5th house in this chart, you can see where she interacted with Saturn and then with Neptune here at the same time. So, you know, this is a trine. When Venus entered the sign of Cancer, it was a square that was coming through. So maybe if there was some discourse for Venus, maybe if there was a searching moment, maybe if there was looking for some sort of emotional connection in the sign of Cancer, now stepping into that desire through strength, through power, creatively inspired, I think about with these fire signs, especially Venus and Neptune. It can be very passionate, it can be very romantic, it can be very dreamy, very idealistic. There's opportunities to really connect deeply to whatever it is that we are trying to connect to here, connecting to intuition, whether that's a spiritual connection or an artistic connection or just some other ability that lifts you up, something that when you are working within it and you are doing that thing, you just really feel like you are in your element. It can have spiritual connotations or not. It doesn't necessarily have to. Being inspired, creating magic, being passionate. These are very romantic, ideal aspects with Venus and Neptune. And the fire sign, there's lots of passion, there's lots of drive within here. Obstacles, grandiosity, delusional thinking, intoxicating action, overdoing it, just moving too far into what makes us feel good. Over asserting our own beliefs. Fire signs, like I said, can be pretty assertive and pretty outgoing and pretty out there. And Venus opposing Pluto. We mentioned this earlier, but this is where we get that exact opposition here on Tuesday. So you see all of this action that Venus is happening here at the beginning of the week, and really this is the biggest action of our week here. Venus opposing Pluto. There's deep spaces related to Venus, related to our desire. There's power, there's passion. There's passion in the sign of Cancer, or sorry, in the sign of Leo. There's power in Pluto. There's power in the fire signs as well in the sign of Leo. Thinking about the subconscious versus the unconscious. For some, it could be cathartic. For some people, it could be empowering. For some people, it could be both. So here, you know, opportunities to bring out healing, bringing out our own agency. So I'm thinking about healing by really getting into those deep spaces and reaching into that that subconscious or unconscious energy and being able to pull something out of that, being able to pull out our own agency, our own authenticity, our own agency, being able to find our own power. Broad picture understanding with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius can be that very 1,000-foot view. Obstacles here could be power struggles. You know, that trine between Saturn and Venus can really be assertive and really impress its power. Uranus and Venus could feel a little bit pinned down, right? We already kind of talked about that. So this could just amplify those power struggles that could possibly be there. Me versus them, self-reliant versus supportive allies. You know, that grandiosity could still be there because Pluto has such depth and such intensity. Processing of difficult material. That could be on both lists, right? That could be on the positive or the opportunity and the obstacle list. I'm trying to come up with these opportunities and obstacles here rather than like positive and negative, just because like obstacles are things you can get through, right? Negative gives much more of a negative connotation in my mind here. So, you know, opportunities to release obstacles, limits, moment of learning how to overcome struggles or issues, maybe by trying something different, a new idea, you know, with the interaction here with Uranus that we have going on. And yeah, so there could be different struggles and different issues. Maybe we need to try something a little different to come through those. And these are all things with Venus and Uranus coming through. Sorry, I didn't say that I moved on to that aspect because I started talking about Uranus with Sun earlier, but Venus and Uranus here can work together. It's a helpful aspect. There is courage, there is mental vitality with Venus and Uranus coming through. I think about mental vitality when I think about the elements. I think about the air element in the sign of Gemini, and then I think about the fire element in the sign of Leo. Limits moving aside, being able to just let borders and things just kind of like fall away, right? Inspiring ideas, opportunities to step into your own freedom regarding desires, emotions, relationships, the things, our wants and our needs, releasing obstacles and moments and moment to learn how to overcome. Gemini likes to bring in information, likes to learn, right? How can Uranus help Venus moving through here this week? Obstacles could be erratic behavior. We talked about Uranus being a little bit unpredictable, not considering the consequences of leaning into desires, you know, but mostly this is a favorable aspect, and sometimes a little bit subtle here too. So that's what we have for Tuesday. And really that is a big part of our action for the week here. So let's go ahead and follow the moon around here together. We're going to move into Wednesday, where the moon's in the sign of Libra before moving into the sign of Scorpio. I like to lay out the weekly the moon transits here too, just so that way you have them for yourself, even though we don't necessarily talk about them here. Moving forward into Thursday, moon's in the sign of Scorpio, so we get a couple interesting squares there too from the Scorpio moon, and the moon will be in the sign of Scorpio on Friday as well. That Scorpio moon will take us right into Saturday, and the moon will move into the sign of Sagittarius, which will take us into Sunday, into the next week here. So really in the beginning of the week, we have lots of packed energy when it comes to Venus. Venus being able to break through, Venus being able to come through with new ideas. This is at the outset of the lunar cycle. The lunation started on Saturday. We're moving into eclipse season here. So really, what is it that you want to create? What are your wishes and desires? What are the things that you have been wanting to bring forward? At the beginning of this week, there could be some energy to reach into spaces that you haven't. You can dream big with the aspect to Neptune. You could also go a little bit overboard with that, right? You can dream big and come up with big ideas, but you can also find a container to put them in with the trine to Saturn. Saturn is very good for maturity and allowing us to see things in the way that will bring good form to them, where Neptune might be a little bit harder to pin down, and then Uranus may be giving us a little bit of the courage there. So I hope everybody has an absolute wonderful week. I look forward to seeing you at our live meditation, and if you haven't already, remember to subscribe to the channel so that way you don't miss anything. Updates, they go to social media, so Facebook, Instagram, you can find the intention there, as well as like any updates or other posts there. So find us on all the things, and I will see you next week. Take care, and everybody have a great week.